What's going on, guys? Today we are out here on the west side of Albuquerque at one of our investment sale listings, and we are going to be talking about the key fundamentals to study and analyze when purchasing an investment property. The first and most important thing to do when studying and analyzing a potential real estate investment is understanding who is the tenant and who is the guarantor behind the lease that you're buying. At this property on the west side of Albuquerque, our tenant is Enterprise, in this case, Truck Rental. Enterprise is a company that last year in 2020 did over $22 billion in revenue and operates in over 100 countries globally. So you have a very, very strong guarantor, a very, very strong tenant securing this lease and securing this investment, which minimizes your risk as an investor. So make sure you study who your tenant is and who your guarantor is when analyzing a potential real estate investment. So furthering the analysis of the tenant and the guarantor, make sure you look at what capital improvement do they have into the property? What's their skin in the game when it comes to this piece of real estate? In this case, at this specific listing, Enterprise came in, secured the property with a lease, dumped an additional $500,000, installing a wash bay for the trucks and an additional parking area. So the tenant has a significant capital improvement and commitment to this property, which should give you as the investor reassurance that they're committed to this piece of property for a long period of time. So when most investors are looking at a real estate investment, they're really just analyzing risk and what they can do to mitigate that risk. So one thing to really understand and look at when buying an investment property is, what do I do if the tenant or the guarantor that I have leaves? What land area do I have? At this specific property, we sit on nearly 2 acres of land in a very dense, a very proven retail trade area, which gives you as the investor reassurance that, hey, if my tenant leaves, I can easily repurpose this with maybe a couple buildings if I had to. So make sure you analyze and study what the actual land area is underneath the investment and what you could potentially do with the property in the event the guarantor or the tenant leaves. So furthering your analysis of the actual underlying real estate, study and pay a lot of attention to the actual fundamentals of a retail property. Visibility, parking, access, signage, traffic, surrounding tenants. At this location, we have exposure to Coors Boulevard, a dominant north-south corridor, over 50,000 cars a day. Excellent visibility. We have exceptional signage on Coors Boulevard. We're located next to a signal, and we're surrounded by national tenancy. So overall, it just solidifies your real estate investment. And again, in the event that Enterprise were to ever relocate, you got a solid piece of property to backfill. All right, guys, pay attention to this next point. Super important. So make sure you understand what you're buying as far as a lease structure and what your responsibility is as a property owner and landlord while the tenant leases the property. You know, for instance, this property that we're on has a ton of really attractive landscaping, massive parking area, structure, and who maintains all of this while the tenant's on the property? Is it you, the landlord, or is it the tenant? In this case, at this specific investment, this is an absolute net lease, which means that the tenant is responsible for maintaining all aspects of the property, from the landscaping to the parking area to the structure, paying the property taxes, and obviously covering the insurance on the property. So it gives you, the investor, the ultimate freedom that you don't have to stress about maintaining the property while they're on the premises. So again, make sure you study and understand what type of asset and what type of lease structure are you buying when analyzing a potential real estate investment. So guys, bottom line, again, when you're analyzing and purchasing an investment property, all you're doing is really looking at the amount of risk that you're taking on with this potential investment. Make sure you understand who your tenant is, who your guarantor is, what your responsibility is, and again, study the actual fundamentals of the property as far as the land area, what you can do with it in the event the guarantor leaves, and, you know, is it surrounded in a dense trade area? Again, just solidifying your investment and your decision. Hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you have any more questions or want to purchase a piece of investment property, please call me, Clayton King, King Capital Commercial Real Estate here in Albuquerque, New Mexico.